All right, looks like it's 2 o'clock, and we will get started on this answer hour. I will start with some housekeeping items. For those that don't know me, I'm Brad Morse, the Program Director for the Campus Project at Department of Labor and Industry. And on this answer hour, we do have Melissa Parrish from CRT. She will be assisting me with this answer hour. For those who don't know, Angie Andreessen, who was the former business analyst, has moved on to a different position outside the state. We congratulate her and say, big thank you to her. But so from now on, you'll be hearing from Melissa and myself on these answer hours. Just to go over some items that for all the answer hours. Make sure that your microphones are muted. We don't want to get any interference when people are talking. And then we also want to try and keep your cameras off because that does take away the bandwidth on WebExes. If you have any questions, please throw them in the chat and we will address them throughout the presentation as they come up, or at the end, there's a Q&A session. We'll start from here. So I will run through some slides and I'll talk to you, talk to you about some of the updates. If questions come up, Melissa, if you can monitor questions, we will be able to go through that. And I think somebody is not on mute, so please mute your microphone. All right. Melissa, you want to go to the first slide? So Sharon, you are not on mute. Please mute yourself. On the agenda, so for this, the agenda, we'll talk about the campus release that we had a couple weeks ago, and they were mainly some small items that we addressed, from a couple weeks ago for the insurers, and then we'll talk about some of the known issues. We'll talk about upcoming answer hours and how do we want to do these going forward. And we will, and then we'll have the question and answer session. So let's go with let's talk about the updates. You want to, next slide. Okay, can everybody please mute your line? If the host of the meeting is on, can you please mute everybody's line except for mine and Melissa's? So some of the things that we were experiencing over the past few weeks is when you were doing the giving bulk access to users, you're getting a 500 error. That happened to some folks that had large groups. We noticed that in particular. So that 500 error has now been corrected. We had an incorrect amount paid to date. It was displaying on the discontinuance doc gens, and that's one that we know is an issue where you're giving somebody a form that didn't have the right information on it. So we have fixed that, based on our requirements, and we're continuing to look at the how we generate documents from EDI and what data should be pulling into them that's the most useful. That was something that this group of folks did put on their surveys. Something you want us to look into, so we're going to continue to look into it. You are not authorized to access this page. Probably everybody on this call or everybody who has staff, somebody experienced this at some point in time when they were trying to open the dependency web form. And a lot of that was a permissions issue of cascading down to the actual transaction level. And that has now been resolved. All right, somebody's still not on mute. So if you're listening to me, please mute your phone.
Brad, this is Sandy. I'm the host. And if I mute everyone, because you and Melissa aren't a host or anything, so if everybody could just mute themselves, that's my fear.
Okay. And then the PPD web form is not properly validating a required field So that's those have all been fixed. So if you're doing the PPD web form, you now, when you go in there and do it, it's all working correctly. If anybody's still experiencing anything on that, please let us know. But those are the main high points of the things we wanted to address that, you know, over the past couple of weeks that when you came up and this group would have interest. So let's go to the next slide on some of the things that we know we're having some issues on, and then the other, there's one that's not even listed here, but I'll talk to you about that. So the first part is issues with third-party administrators to linking to claims in limited instances. We now have got this down to a very small group of folks. I have asked that some of our CRT folks that know the relationships better start to work on this, and so we're going to I'm going to work with them to start reaching out to the people that we know this is affecting. If you are still having issues, please reach out to the help desk and let them know. If you have an open help desk ticket, that means that we're assigning it to some folks internally to look at it, because we are running into some very interesting relationships that are causing problems for TPAs. The inability to upload other filings on closed files, that is something that is a system design thing that we're looking to figure out. When do we want to do the enhancements on that? We know that our status closure shouldn't be affecting your filings or vice versa. So it's something we're looking into to figure out how to make that happen, and then we will give an update on that. And so everybody knows that's affecting not just insurance carriers, that is affecting rehab providers and attorneys. So it's a big one that we want to work on. Need more document type options when uploading stuff into campus. That's feedback that we got on the survey as well, that we want to have more when you are doing the upload. You have the category and then the document types. A lot of stuff's falling into that other category, so we want to update that so that you can have more of a list to work on, and that's something that we want to address in the upcoming months, just to get those fleshed out and working in the system. And then some users are timing out when attempting to sign into campus. This is we are looking at this right now. And the folks that are saying that they're having this, we're putting in a couple of fixes on Thursday, and I will be reaching out to people that have reached out to us about this, because I want to see if our fixes work. And what happens is some people are actually associated to over 1 million transactions in the system, and that is causing them to, when they're logging in, it's trying to pull all that data, and they're starting to time out. So we're putting some caching in, and we're doing some performance work on that. And so on Friday, I will be reaching out to a couple of folks that I know is having this issue, and then we will go through that. One item that's on here, that's not on here, that's not an issue, but we're getting a lot of questions on, and is about assessment and the assessment process. There is a place in campus to actually report your yearly assessments. And what has happened is we triggered the work based on if people had open claims or paid indemnity, and the emails went out to anybody that was listed as an assessment contact, or if you didn't have an assessment contact, it went out to the group administrator. This is causing some confusion, so we're actually going to have a whole dedicated answer hour to this next week. We'll have a short demo of the assessment process. We'll talk about some of the group administration pieces of how to designate somebody with this contact so you can report your assessment stuff to the department. So that will look for that to come out in the Friday newsletter, and then it should be next Thursday. We're kind of looking at Thursday. We're just looking at times right now. So if everybody has questions on assessments, please just know that we're going to have a full answer hour dedicated to them. Our help desk did get flooded with questions on it, and we're working through those to help people. But the gist of it is a group administrator has to assign a designated contact for assessments, or it's going to go to the administrator. You can assign somebody outside your company to be your assessment contact if that's the way you typically report your assessment. But we'll go through those options next Thursday. With that, Melissa, you want to go to the next slide?
Actually, we have some questions from the chat. Is this an okay time for me to read those off?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, great. So the first question was just, is the PPD web form, it's not the EDI PY form, correct? And I did put in the chat that that is accurate. The PPD web form is not an EDI filing. It is a separate web form in Campus. But then the next question, I am receiving intermittently the "you are not authorized to access this page" message when I'm trying to access documents from my notifications list. And I don't know if you want to speak to that, Brad, or?
Yeah, I think these types of things, we want to work with you and figure out what's going on. What happens there is that sometimes people are getting sent a document, but they don't have any association to the claim, and that's something we need to fix. Or there's something else going on and we need to look into it. So sometimes it's a claim association. That's the majority of the time is, you know, somebody sent you a document where you're not actually on the claim, and that's why it's not letting you see that document. But if it's something where it's a document you've created and you filed and it's giving you that, you need to please let us know those examples and reach out to the help desk team, and they will, you know, create that help desk ticket. We may need to have a session scheduled because that's a behavior that would be very unique if that is happening.
Perfect. Okay, and the next question then, or there's a need for their 31 TPA groups linked to one. Do we know when this will happen?
31 TPA groups linked to one. Is this who wrote the question?
It's from Tammy.
From Tammy. Tammy, let's reach out. I have sent some communications, you know, to CRT, and Melissa's part of CRT, but to see if we have some of our group admins in there that really know those associations to start to do that cleanup work. Because from a standpoint, from a data standpoint, we don't have enough unique keys or identifiers to merge groups. So if you have 31 that need to be put into one, that means all 31 have transactions, and somebody has to give us approval to do that. And we are working with, you know, everybody on a case-by-case basis, because sometimes, you know, just because the name is very similar doesn't mean they're part of the same group or even associated in the same company. And we don't want to be merging people together erroneously. So we are working on that. Tammy, if you want to put your information in the chat, and we'll see if Melissa, can you take that down, and we'll do a follow-up and just see what we can do to help her out.
Okay, thank you. We had another question that was also related to the not authorized people getting it on the rehab notices, notice of reps, etc. So with that in general, I'm assuming the same answers from before, Brad?
Yeah, that usually means if you're an insurance carrier and you're getting a not authorized, that means that you do not have access to the claim. So either the group administrator can give you access to the claim, or we did do that improvement in the last month, that your next EDI transaction, if you update the claim rep's email, it can come in and that will give you access to the claim as well. So if you want to send an O2 transaction or the next following transaction, the claim rep would be assigned to that claim. But that's what we've seen in the past, is that they either not using the bulk claim functionality to give you bulk access because of internal controls. They need to give you access to that claim, and that's where you're running into that issue.
Hey, Brad, this is Lee Ingracia, and I'm the one that said I'm getting the same issue that John Wiatros mentioned earlier. I'm the service of process designee. So these notices are coming to me, but I can't access them. I am not, and I have every permission available in Campus on all of our groups. And I've escalated this up multiple times I started with Angela one-on-one. I know she's gone, but I've sent multiple issues, screenshots, done the F12 thing that Melissa told me to do to kind of capture some of the computer jargon stuff to the help desk. I haven't heard a peep. So I'm wondering how that's going to work if I'm the service of process designee and I get everything and have every permission. How come I can't see these documents when accessing through the email that I get from campus?
Yeah, I don't know. That's something we gotta look into. We were experiencing the same thing with law firms, and we've fixed that for the law firms because they were running into the same issue because they have one person that wasn't associated to attorneys getting these. We can look into it again. That's what I can tell you, Lee. I can look into that. But
Okay.
Melissa, Chris Leifeld's on there. Chris, can you have your team document that and see what we can do for Lee and John?
Lee, can you remind me, did you send those emails with the screenshot specific to the help desk or to me specifically, or do you recall where you sent those?
I know Angela forwarded one to the help desk right before she left, and then I have sent a couple more to the help desk. It was like at the very beginning of last week. So, I mean, if you want to ping me, I can share some stuff with you. It happens intermittently, as John Wiatros noted. It's not every single time. I'd say it's 80% of the time.
Okay. That'll help me just to know where to try and dig to find some of those emails if they're through the help desk. But yes, I can also, either myself or someone else will reach out and get further information and follow up. Thank you for that.
Thanks.
So we have quite a few other things, Brad, if that's okay, if I can keep going through the chat here.
Yeah, keep going. Sorry, I keep having a ambulance go by outside. So.
Oh, no problem. Okay, so we had just some feedback here that it can take a minute, or it does take over a minute 15 seconds to save when assigning claims colleagues to a claim. So some feedback there that we can take down regarding just it taking a long time to assign people to a claim. And then I think, John,
Melissa, is that in the, are they referring to like the bulk edit access one?
They didn't specify, Tammy. I don't know if you're able to, or if you're further down.
No.
But if that is related to the bulk, yes, Brad, you did kind of speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, and we're looking to do some performance tuning in this next cycle. And if I could just land on what they're doing, like we can look to tune that faster.
This is Tammy. I'm sorry, I did take myself off mute. It is not bulk assignment. It's just it's one claim attempting to assign, and I timed it because, you know, it does take a really long time. And with 31 different groups to browse through for claims, just a little time consuming to get a file assigned.
Sure. So Brad, on that, what would we need? Would we need a console shot of what's happening there when the assignment?
Oh no, I just need to know the page. If it's, I just didn't know if they're doing the bulk action or if it was the one. That's all I need to know, because we can just take that down and specifically tune that query.
Okay. And then we have a couple questions from John. I think the first one is related to the assessments here, the special comp fund report and benefits paid, and the TPA client group. So I believe that was kind of addressed, or will be addressed even more so with the upcoming answer hour. So forgive me if I kind of skip past that one, but do ping me if I need to come back to that one. But then the next one is he's looking for a response concerning the scheduling of a meeting regarding requirement of acceptance of legal services. So he's been waiting on a meeting for that we need to circle back up on. Let's see here. Required fields are not auto-populating with info that is already in campus. For example, the body part, average weekly wage, etc. And when we fill in this field, we are getting an error message stating that we have conflicting body part message. So I think, Kathy, if this is an e-form question, that's something, if you're able to take any screenshots and send that in to our help desk so that we can triage it, and our you can even send it to the EDI team. I will put that email address in the chat shortly again. So we can get examples of that and take a look at the claim, and we can see if there's something that's auto-populating or not auto-populating, and circling back to the claim that shouldn't be on it, as far as getting the error messages. And then, all right, here's a question from Deb. When managing our TPA group, we do not have an option to designate a person as the assessment contact. How are we to address this? Oh, another assessment one. Brad, I don't know if you want to speak any more to that, or if that still is just a, like you said, the insurer and self-insurer groups can add people on. And then other questions. I did get an email address from Karen in the Special Comp Fund where questions about assessments can go directly to them. If that's helpful, I could put that in the chat, Brad.
Yeah, that's one we're going to discuss. So the linking, the assessment contact is actually on the carrier or the self-insured entity that needs to report. Even though the TPA is reporting for them, the carrier has to add them as that contact. So we can go through that.
Okay, great.
In that answer hour, because like I said, we've received a lot of questions on that, so we feel like it's going to warrant a full hour and some demo.
Sure. Okay. And then we have just more follow-up and confirmation that working to get clients' claims appropriately linked to the TPA group, it is a issue for more than one group here. So some confirmation on that. And then, and Tammy is clarifying as well, they're all the same TPA group. It is for Sedgwick, and I've been told for quite some time that this was going to be resolved. So I'm writing down a note here as far as looking into Sedgwick. Unless, Brad, if you know anything further about that one.
The Cedric one?
Yes.
The Cedric one, we're waiting on some confirmations on that.
Okay, and I think Mackinac was the other main one that is still has a couple outstanding issues that need follow up.
Yeah.
Okay. When filling out an essay, the semi-annual, we are having problems entering para and SS benefits and getting a DN16 error, which is not in the guide. Please, and 211, maybe include the completion of filling out one of these forms in a training session. So I think, again, this might be a e-forms question, but if I'm not mistaken, DN116 is the error message data element. So it wouldn't be in our guide because it's actually part of the error message. And I think what we've seen before, I saw one, and I don't know if Kathy, it was from you or if I just saw a similar one, but one thing you can check is to make sure you're not listing more than one adjustment, or I'm sorry, more than one of the same adjustment. So example, if you have Social Security benefits there that you're putting down as a benefit adjustment, you can't list it twice. It's kind of like those, the benefits when you list like temp total or something, you just have one temp total and you just continue adding on to it. Same with the benefit adjustment there. So that could be the reason for getting the 116 error. But if you have already emailed about that, great. If not, please do send an email to our EDI team. And I need to remember, I'll do that right now to add that email address in as well. And I'll put the help desk in as well. Let's see. Sorry, I'm running through. There's a few other kind of back and forths in here, including some questions with Lee, but we'll follow up, Tammy and Lee, with that a little bit more. And yes, John, I do see, I will follow up specifically with Brad about your question about the follow-up meeting with that. And I think, dashboards. Is there any drill down capability? How do I see those claims awaiting benefits? And that comes from Bridget.
On our side, no. I mean, your claims dashboard just has all the claims listed. We don't have anything for filtering for something awaiting benefits. Obviously it's a system that is designed about on the reporting that comes in that determines your next action. So, I mean, I guess you could say maybe we want to take some feedback. Is there like a situation of you want to know how many throws you have without having a second action or a first action, or is there something else we're looking at there?
And also some feedback to have a filter for the employer. I'm making a note of that. I can add that. I know I logged some feedback about on the dashboard page, so I can add in a comment about that. My previous log had been about some other functionality on the dashboard page, some search and different fields. So I can add that to that same feedback. And then I see another question. Just wanted to clarify that I can submit an IP and a SX, so an initial payment and a suspension in the same batch. And actually, yep, so that's actually one of the points I recall that we're going to talk about at our EDI specific answer hour tomorrow, but that there had been a fix that went out previously. If the same claim admin claim number, if you were submitting multiple MTCs on the same batch, there would be a rejection there, they would reject. But now if they are different MTCs, they would go through the normal validation. So as long as there aren't any other issues that would cause the rejection, yes, if there is an SX and an IP in the same batch, those would come through. And then we did get some more clarification from Bridget. Just as an account overview, it would be beneficial to drill into the dashboards. So that's helpful follow-up information as far as what they're looking for. And at the moment, that takes us, I think, to the end of the questions. I apologize if I did happen to miss one. Please do call me out on it or take yourself off mute. I hope I didn't miss any. But Brad, I'll go ahead to the next slide if that's okay.
Yep.
There we go.
And then this is just a slide that we put out there where we're putting more information on the Campus Central page. Most of you all get the emails, but the links to these answer hours and all those communications we send out are on this page. We're going to have some FAQs. We're going to have to address some of the assessment stuff that will be put on this page. After the next answer hour, we'll have the meeting recordings up there. So that's just where we're at on that.
Oh, sorry, did I move ahead too fast?
No, that's okay. Perfect. Yeah, do we have any questions?
So one more, or a couple, I think more, that there's a really good call out that a lot of these questions, many of the issues here are TPA related. Could we set up a TPA specific question and answer session?
Yeah, we can set something up for the TPAs.
Okay. And then some clarification. Want to clarify, if a claim is closed in Campus, it will not be reflected on the assigned user's dashboard. Actually, I don't, off the top of my head, I did not think that the status of the claim would impact what showed up on the dashboard if someone was assigned, but Brad, certainly correct me if I'm wrong there.
I have to look at this, but I thought there's a button to check where it shows the closed ones.
Okay. She's had some recent info about this. I'm gonna have to play around a little bit in our test environment to see if I can duplicate that, because I thought it would still show, but I will need to look into that.
Yeah.
And then a good point out from John here, the status of the claim, it does impact the ability to file Troy's. So have you run into a case where a claim has been closed on our end in Campus and you have been unable to submit a SHROI, an EDI SHROI? I know John's typing, or has been typing questions. It might take a moment to get that answer, but if I could get some clarity on that. I know that the status of the claim has impacted the ability to upload certain documents. I haven't heard, we had to have DLI reopen claims in Campus. So John, if I could get maybe some specifics on what you were trying to submit. We definitely have had an ongoing issue and we're working on resolutions, and in the meantime have the workaround to reopen our claims. But we definitely know that there is an issue where if our claim is closed, you aren't able to upload everything that you might need to upload. Perfect. Thank you, John. Because if it's really an issue where the EDI is unable to come in, then that's something we definitely need to know about right away so we can work on that. I haven't heard of that yet, but please do. I would love the follow up on that just to verify that that's not a blocker on the EDI.
Yeah, we have tested that, and that's not occurring. Not occurring to my knowledge. So okay. That'd be good to get some examples of that so we can get those taken care of.
And we do have, when people contact the help desk specific with claims that we need to reopen, we have dedicated staff to that, so it can go directly to them, so they can work quickly to get those reopened. So again, if you run into those situations for some of the uploads you need to do, please do let us know. You can contact the help desk and we'll work to get those opened again. Oh, how do you get a claim to close in campus? What is the turnaround time? So there's a couple things, or I'm sorry, Brad, did you want to answer that?
No, Melissa, you take
Okay.
that.
So with the claim closing campus, there's a couple things with that. For one, the status of the claim, I'll say we've put in an improvement for down the road that maybe the status wouldn't even be showing to you guys because it's really our internal status. It does not reflect if your claim is closed. As you know, you might be done paying indemnity, but your claim might be going on for many, many years with medical or other things. And so your status and our status isn't going to be the same thing. If that said, if you're done on a claim and your indemnity is paid and there's not ongoing litigation or rehab, you do need to file that FN filing, that EDI filing, and that is an indicator to us to look at the claim and to possibly close it if we can, but it's not an immediate thing. There's nothing you can specifically do to close the claim. You can trigger something like that final for us to review the claim to see if we're done with it, and then that would likely cause us to close it. At the moment, though, we're also needing to keep in mind that if we're closing claims, we have that issue of you not being able to upload to them. So we might not be closing them right now because of that reason. So there's a couple factors at play there. We had another question. I had examiners telling me they didn't see the claim, but yet I show it was assigned. DLI said it was because it was marked as closed in campus. Oh, and DLI had to reopen. Okay, well, that's good information. Thank you, Tammy, for that clarification. So we are definitely looking at the claim status, that closed status, and the impact it's having on you guys. And I'll add in this comment to that story. So we're sure to look at this as well when we're looking at that status situation.
This is Bridget from Berkeley. I just wanted to take myself off mute so that I could get my comment in there about the closed status.
Okay.
I think it is beneficial for us to be able to see that, because then when we can't do certain things, it's usually because it's in closed status, and we would be able to see that. Also, just wanted to note, you can also not do a PPD follow-up web form if the claim is in closed status.
Gotcha. So it's not just filing the other or the other upload, it is some of the web forms as well.
Yep.
Okay.
In addition, I've had a number that I needed to have reopened, and I have emailed the help desk. My most recent one, I had sent the email on the 16th, and it still had not been reopened. And so I sent a follow-up today, and I copied in the EDI team.
Okay.
I have a special relationship with them, I think. And it was opened immediately, but I mean, that was over a week.
Sure.
And trying to, manage what we're getting done and what's being done and what can't be done until we hear back is somewhat of a challenge when you're waiting over a week.
Sure. No, I can definitely understand that. We'll follow up with the help desk team about that one, specific to when requests are coming in to reopen claims.
Is there maybe something specific you would like us to put in the subject line to make it consistent and easily identifiable by the help desk team that could be communicated on the campus web?
Absolutely.
So then it is, I know they're getting tons, and I know it's hard to get through them all, but it may be putting out some type of clarification about what you put in the subject line so that it will be addressed more timely.
Perfect. Yep, that's great feedback. Thank you. Okay, a couple more. Where can we sign up for the answer hour on assessments? I know that's not specifically, it's not listed yet because the specifics of the date and time are still being worked out, but will that be available on Campus Central, Brad, when it's available?
Yeah, it's gonna be on Campus Central. It's gonna go out in the newsletter that we send to the insurance community on Friday. So that's where you'll get the information, just like this one.
Okay. Perfect. And then let's see, a follow up with the issue with Shore's on campus closed claims. We did have a Shore go through. It was just an upload issue. Okay, so that's helpful to have that follow up. Thanks, Meredith. It does appear to be more related to the uploads and web forms than to EDI. So still an issue, but it helps us narrow down exactly what the issue is. Let's see, can you please advise if there has been any update or talk regarding reinstating the penalties? Yes, so there's definitely been ongoing work related to penalties, and we had committed in a previous communication, I believe, that we would keep you guys up to date on when, if those start coming out again. I don't have a date right now that I know of, and I'm not sure if Ralph was able to join this call or is able to speak to that any further. But I guess the update is that right now we're still holding study where we were, that is not a priority. The penalties, especially as we've asked in the past, if you guys continue to do your great work of ensuring that the employee is, of course, paid on time and things are denied on time and properly served, any issues with filing or if we've had some technical issues on our end, those are simply not priorities for us to penalize because we are working with you guys and really are thankful for all of you working with us through this to make these improvements. Oh, and then good follow-up from Jenny. Thanks, Jenny, that it wouldn't be on Campus Central, but the main WorkComp campus webpage and events as far as signing up for the answer hours. So on our webpage, and like Brad said, we will be sending out some information on that with the communications as well. Will you put something in the email notifications about the penalties? Yeah, I'll talk with our team about the language previously put out to see if that's appropriate just to to write again what our stance on those penalties had been. I know a communication went out, but it's been a while. So let me follow up with our team about that. Thanks, Tammy. And right now that brings us to the end of the chat at the moment, Brad.
Well, thank you. And I know this was scheduled for a half hour. We're running a little bit over. So with that, I think we can adjourn the meeting. We will definitely be, we're getting back on our cadence for answer hours. And if we need to start extending times, we definitely can do that to accommodate some of these questions. We'll take the feedback down from the TPAs about TPA answer hour. We'll follow up with some specific people on those questions. And like Melissa noted earlier, we're starting to prioritize some improvements for our March release. And we'll look to get some of these blockers cleared for you. That's something that the commissioner's committing to. So we'll start to look at some of these frequently brought up things that are having issues, and we'll work with you on that. I will say that one thing that is going to come out tomorrow, we are going to, or not tomorrow, sorry, the Friday, you will have a WID lookup. So if anybody was having issues with getting WIDs, you will have a WID lookup in campus. So that's exciting times. That was the number one thing asked for from the stakeholders. So we've got that in now, and that was based on that survey. So with that, I think we can adjourn unless Melissa, you have anything else?
I don't. Thank you. Thanks everyone for coming.